It's the October of 2020, and schools had just resumed after the 3 or 4 month lockdown that we had back then. And over the course of the whole lockdown, I got first introduced to pornography, and I started developing a really, really bad habit of fapping multiple times a day. Because during the lockdown, we had nothing to do, and this is when I really first got introduced to this whole thing, and it was really taboo for me at the time because I never even knew what fapping or whatever all this shit was, you know what I'm saying? So I got really, really addicted to it over the holidays, over the lockdown. And I remember on the first day of school, right? For the first day of school, I was running late because it was the first day. I wasn't ready yet. I was running late, but I still had to, you know, I still had to speed it. I still had to get one out because that's what addiction does, bro. Like, so I go on the website, you know what I'm saying? And I do it in 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes at max, you know what I'm saying? And then I get to school that day and I just remember feeling lethargic the whole time. Lethargic, tired, drowsy, you name it, bro. I was feeling all types of negative things. So that's when I first researched into it, right? So I was like, what is this actually? What is this good for you? And you know what I saw, bro? They said all the the sources that I saw on Google or whatever, they say that it's a normal thing. And that was my absolute downfall, man. And this led me to spiral down a 2 to 3 year addiction and cycle of just being addicted to pornography, just fapping. It took me that long to get out of it, bro. And the two things that I would say that helped me the most is consistently locking in, right? Consistently. And I don't mean me half-assing it or something. I was fully dialed in on getting rid of this addiction for 6 whole months from the end of 2022 to mid 2023, right? And this was focused attention. I was only putting my brain onto this so I can get rid of this so I don't feel like shit anymore. And the two things that helped me, right, in this journey is transmutation of your energy, right? And that's not anything crazy spiritual fancy. No, it's not. Let me just explain that to you. It's basically when when you fat, right? You have sexual energy, so you try and release that by doing your deed. You know what I'm saying? But instead, what if you put that energy into doing something productive? You know what I'm saying? Actually going out for a walk or doing an exercise, because you energy can't be destroyed, right? You can transmute it. You know what I'm saying? So why don't you change your sexual energy into doing something else? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so strong, right? Your urge is crazy strong. So why don't you just take that sexual energy and actually better yourself instead? You know what I'm saying? Instead of beating it, why don't you better yourself? Why don't you go out for a walk, or why don't you work on something else that takes your mind off this and transmutes your sexual energy into something else? You know what I'm saying? So that was the first thing that really changed my mind, changed my whole perspective on this, right? And the other thing is, bro, stop counting the days. Nobody cares, bro. Don't count the days, okay? Just don't have an obsession over how many days you haven't done it, right? And because that just makes you obsessed. It's you're on you're craving on carving on a wall. You know how prisoners do that shit, where they take some blunt object and they carve the days on the wall like a psychopath. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what you look like when you do that, bro. And you can't stop it all at once. You can't just stop beating. You can't just stop beating. That doesn't happen, especially if you're addicted 5 times a day, 3 times a day, something, whatever, 2 times a week. If you're addicted, you can't stop it instantly. The best thing you can do is to reduce the amounts of times you beat in a single month. You know what I'm saying? So if you do it every day now, 30 times you're beating every day, 30 times you're beating right now, do it 28 times. That's way better. You don't know how much better that is. 28 times in a month. It sounds bad, but if you be 60 times a month, going to 28, you know how much of a significant improvement that is? I know people that beat for 150 times a month, and they just live like that because they don't want to change at all. You know how crazy that is? 150 times a month. And me saying that's crazy is insane, by the way, because I used to be a chronic beater myself. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go that far, but you get what I mean, bro. Even if they drop down to 100, that's still like a significant improvement. And I hope you haven't gone that bad yet. Like, like 150 times, that's kind of like deep fried. So even if you're beating like 60 times a month, let's say, if you go to like 55, that's still an improvement, bro. So keep those two things in mind, bro. Use your sexual energy to do something productive and stop counting the days and make the days count.